Evening guys, part 2 of Could I Survive here. We're walking through and behind me silver birch. Silver birch, let's go and have a look. Excellent firelight material, as we all know. You know, there's plenty on here, plenty of bark. Sorry, I have damaged this a little, but other than that, not bad. Silver birch, a lot to offer. In the first 3 weeks in January, March, we can bleed this tree and get delicious liquid sap. Nutritious, very highly nutritious. It feeds the tree. It feeds for about 2 weeks, I think. Pushes this liquid up. We can bleed it by putting something in it. We can drill it. We can do all sorts of things. We'll go into that. But we can take off the liquid. It'd be interesting to know what we could make of that liquid, how much sugar's in it actually. I need to examine that, but a lot to offer. Firelighting, also on the birch, more the dead birch, there's none on round here, but you get polypore mushrooms, which are good for bandages, well not bandages, but plasters, and it's supposed to be anti-cancerous, but you can use it for a lot of things is what I'm saying. Main what it's used for is firelighting, you know. Don't taste very good. But anyway, let's move on. Just a bit further on, and I've come across dock. There we go. Mainly used for medicinal purposes, really. Dock, as opposed to, excuse me, eating it. It's more for putting on cuts and stuff like that. But anyway, you know. Said, let's go a bit further. Continuing in the woods, part 2. Behind me, big row of beech trees. I don't know how the light's working in here, but plenty of nuts in autumn. As we can see, last year's are still, well, these are more pine. Sorry about that. These are more pine, but super trees. You're going to get a lot off this. They're hard to work, beech nuts, but you can actually grind the inner bark and turn it into a flower. The Indians used to do anyway. But here's a huge collection of beech. It's a right mixture in here of beech and pine. Quite a good sustainer, really. Not a sustainer. That's the wrong word. It's just useful to have with you. You know. God, there's loads of them. Great little find, isn't it? And if we come down here, there's big ones, there's big fellas down here. Mature beech. Very accessible, and probably only 15-20 minutes into our walk, really, from when we started on video 1. But look at these magnificent creatures. You know. Lovely life. And a big row of them. All the way down there. Anyway, let's continue. The beech nut, and as we can see, it's a tough old brute. You know, it's hard work getting beech nut, even in the best of time. They rot very quick, so you have to harvest them very quick. But you would do, you know. If I was down here, I'd be down here straight away looking for these if I had to survive here, and seeing what I had to do. Just looking around. Let's go a bit further. Holly. And you're saying holly, you know. Well, holly is useful for making your hearts in your fire, in your bow drill. You know, it's hard, it's good wood. It's not necessarily brilliant for putting on the fire and burning, but it's a good wood. It's a good wood to use. I wouldn't bother with anything else for the holly, but again, a useful resource. Behind me, in our woods, as you can see, if I turn around, there's a broad mixture of trees and a lot of ash. Now, ash is firewood. It's not only just firewood. It's good for making spoons. It's good for making a lot of stuff. But for firewood, it's perfect. It's the best around because the coals off it are brilliant for dragging out and cooking. It's just wonderful wood, in my opinion, the best tree in the world. And I'm sure there'll be some argue about that, but I really love the ash. As an owner of a log burner at home that heats, I think, 7 radiators, ash is unbeatable. But a large variety: alder, sycamore, beech, all in this one area. There's more than enough resources to keep our fires lit. Just picking up the dead wood, if we look down here, you know, great big branches. That's alder, green alder. Great big branches, or big enough to manage, handle, cut up. Fallen trees. It's absolutely paradise down here, actually. Anyway, let's walk on. As we can see, it's endless down here. You can see a long line down these paths of all sorts of trees. That looks like a silver birch up ahead, which is, as everybody knows, excellent in many ways. Excellent for the sap, excellent for fire lighting. Oh gosh, it's absolute survival dream as far as trees are concerned. So we've got a good mixture of survival equipment within a very short period of time, which is vitally important. And what, as I said in video 1, what I'm trying to stress here is having a look at our survival situation and can we actually survive. Go out and walk through the woods and think about what you're looking at with the knowledge you've got, and question yourself, can I survive here? So let's go a bit further down. We can see at the base of this tree the amount of nuts that's fell off this magnificent beech last year and are still lying here. We can see there is there'd be if you were one person, these trees would provide a lot. As I say, there's a lot of them. So anyway, let's keep going. We have lesser plantain here, which is highly nutritious. That was discovered in the First World War when the horses were eating it, the men were starving. They discovered that plantain is a very nutritious. As mentioned in my first video, or the preceding video, video 1, can I survive here? I've just touched on grass seed, but let's not overlook grass seed. You know, flour of any description is precious commodity, and here we are, lots of seed in here, and that is seed. There's very little husk on that. We could grind that up. I mean, there are a lot of insects in grass. As collecting grass seed, we can't eat the grass, you know, as we're probably all aware. Grass will not feed us, we can't digest it, and we can't get the sugars out of it. But the seed we can eat. But as I say, it's the insects in it. You do collect a lot of insects when you're collecting grass seed. So find a way of getting them out, or give them time. You know, the right above it is elderberries just at the beginning here. You know, ready to go. Flowers have fallen off and the berries are taking over. So very soon we're going to be able to harvest. You know, in the next few weeks we're going to be harvesting. Well, the next 6 weeks probably. We'll have a lot of elderberries. There's a good few elder bushes here, so we can harvest them. But wow, come on, who said we can starve in this country? Let's go and have a look on. And here's an old chestnut, and it really is. Sweet chestnut behind me. Magnificent sized tree. I don't know if you can see that. Not the pine, the sweet chestnut. But anyway, this falls amazingly. Not due to happen for a while yet, but when it does, and what I'm intending to do is germinate some of the chestnuts, winter them in the freezer, because I can do that. We won't have a freezer in a survival situation, but we might have a cold winter which set them going. But it's a big tree, and there's plenty of fall. It's all gone now because unfortunately it falls on the road. And tracks in, but there's nothing sprouting up near it except again silver birch. But anyway, that's, as I say, what can I say? We ain't gonna starve, are we? Let's move on. My intention off the back of these two videos is to do a series of videos dealing with individual items. It might be a bit boring, guys, but it'll be informative. It's not just a case of walking around showing you that hey, there's a beech tree, and hey, there's a sweet chestnut, and hey, there's some nettles, but hey, what do we do with them? You know, how do we cook them? How do we cook worms? How do we cook snails? Purging snails. I'm going to do one subject at a time. I know a lot of us on YouTube tend to do what I've just done, but I think if I look at garden worms, we purge garden worms, we cook garden worms, and we eat garden worms as a video. Although a lot of it will be done not necessarily around a campfire, because it won't be another couple of months and it's going to get pretty miserable up here. But anyway, that's me next plan, so I do hope you'll join me in that. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. As I say, I've just made the two videos on a quick walk around this area, an area I know, like, and work on. And as you can see, you can survive, and that's without looking at, we've only looked at the plants and the trees. You know, we've got thousands of worms. There are thousands, I can't remember now, there's thousands of worms in an acre. There's 26 acres here. There's all sorts of bugs and critters, birds, rabbits, pheasants. I could happily survive here. Water. You could make yourself at home. One thing I will say, that I've worked up here on my own for a year now. Not deliberately, I've just decided that that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to develop the site. And one thing about being on your own, even though I'm not on my own, I go home to my wife and my family. But working on your own in isolation with maybe just a few phone calls, well, just a couple of phone calls a day, it does mentally, it does mentally change you. It changes your attitude, changes your personality. I've noticed that, and it's very easy to become depressed. So being on your own is not perfect. We're built to be in tribes or with company. So if you're bugging out, you know, do it with a family or a friend. You know, you probably will be doing it with your family, but think about that. Total isolation, not many men can do it. And even the frontier men, you know, they didn't live very long. You know, trappers and skinners, and they didn't live long. They didn't have great, grand old grey hair. So just bear that in mind. My plan, my strategy on a bug out situation, a survival situation, is to quickly gather a group around you. Because if they're all willing to work, you know, then they'll all eat. But build a strategy of people, build a tribe, even though it be a very small tribe, because that way you'll be strong. Some people will know what you don't know, and so on and so forth. There might be a doctor among you, there might be a builder among you. You know, think about that in your survival tactics, because planning on getting a few neighbours together that you get on with is instant success, in my opinion. But anyway, this is Pete at Survival and Bushcraft, saying I hope you enjoyed it. So please don't forget.